Hello, everyone. Um, so this will be a different video. It will not be me recording a world record, but just explaining how drifting works and how how I can drift all the time. And it's a little bit thanks to the controller, um, but there might be a catch on it. It might not be the controller itself, but how I hold the controller. But let me go through what happens, okay? And then I'll show it on the game if I can. But we'll see how it goes, okay? And sorry for the notifications from my phone. All right, so this is my controller. This is an Xbox Series S controller that is hooked up to my computer on the left. I don't want to show the mess on my desk, okay? So usually, I don't know how people hold their controller, but let's say they are going left to right. Oh, and there's a software up there as well, displaying the axis on the controller on how they're behaving. Okay. So I don't know how people hold their controller, but let's assume most people would do left to right like this, like I'm doing right now. Left and right, okay? But for some reason, when I hold the controller, this is about how my grip on the controller goes. My natural movement to go from left to right looks something like this. Can you guys see that I'm on a little bit of a diagonal? Okay, so this is kind of the secret that I didn't know about. I figured this out a few hours earlier today. For some reason, when I grip my controller and I move from left to right, it doesn't do it in a straight line like this. I do it something more like this, on a diagonal. And you guys will see why this is important. But I can change the grip and be on an even bigger diagonal. And I'm just moving my thumb left to right, like I'm not forcing anything. If I change my grip, I can even go basically up and down. So for some reason, I naturally held the controller like this, and it was already a little bit in a diagonal way. So we will see why this is important in a few, okay? So I will need to, I'll stop the camera on the phone. You guys can already saw how it works here. I'm holding my cell phone as a camera, so I will not be able to play with only one hand. So I'm turning this off for a while, and then we will see this in action in the game itself, okay? Okay, so here I am on the racetrack now. OBS on the other screen. Okay. So let's try to drift a little bit. For some reason I'm not listening. Okay, I just need to set up my headphone. Okay, now I can hear the engine sound. Okay. As you can see, when you drift, if you press all the way to the right or all the way to the left, you start over drifting. You get those skid marks below the car, right? But if you go just a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, you see I'm not pressing all the way. The graph still says that I'm all the way to the left, but you see that there's some, I'm not all the way. You see the graph on axis 0 is not minus 32,000. It's about minus 20,000. Okay? So I would say about here. Let's try to drift a little bit more. So if I go over a certain threshold, I start skidding left to right. Right? You see that this will not work because the x value goes over a certain threshold, which I'm not sure what the right value is, but it's I don't know. Let's see we can find. Let's see we can find this value. Maybe something like 20 25,000. Maybe a little bit more. I would need to slow motion this video to know the right value. But okay, now you see why. If the x is 0, which is the letter x axis, goes over a certain value, you start skidding instead of just drifting, and you don't gain as much speed. See, I'm gonna drift only a little bit without skidding, and see how much speed I gain. Right? And if instead of doing that I start skidding, I don't gain speed. I start losing a little bit of speed. Right? And I think this is by design by the developers. So what is the technique then? I can't let the x value go over a certain threshold. And by the way I grip my controller, you guys remember, I move the controller in a diagonal way. So if I move it on a diagonal way, the x value eventually, depending on how much diagonal I'm going, it doesn't go over the threshold. See? So if I move from left to right like this, see? It doesn't go over the threshold. So I can just move left to right. You guys will hear my controller doing this noise, right? If you check my world record videos, you guys will hear my controller doing this noise. I'm going all the way to the left, all the way to the right, but on a diagonal manner. And it was completely by accident that I did this. It wasn't intentional. But because of the way I hold the controller, it just happened. So I was a lucky bastard. See? Now I'm always turning and I'm always drifting because I'm moving on a diagonal manner. Let's go through a full lap so you guys can see it in action. Maybe even I can beat my time. Very tight to the right, so you can go all the way to the left. Okay, usually you don't go over the grass there, but okay, it wasn't that bad of a loss. And here you go all the way to the right and then pull to the left. Oh, don't go over the curbs. As you see, the curbs make you lose speed on this version of the game. Late apex. Okay, my time wasn't that good, but you guys saw I made an easy 45, making mistakes. And if I keep going and keep practicing, I can nail all the apexes and always be drifting. So there may be turns where you don't need the drift and you need to turn all the way to the left or all the way to the right, where it might be useful to go all the way like this. But then you would need to change to the diagonal again when you need the drift. I don't know, this is something I just found out, but I wanted to share with you guys my findings so everyone can enjoy it. Okay, so I went 44 there, about 44. Okay, not going to the grass is better. This can be a single drift all the way to the turn. I usually go wider on the entry, but this will work. Okay, oh, I missed the apex a little bit. Okay, so this was a low 43, would be the previous road record. Yeah, it's not bad. So now you guys know how I do it, and you could even see the buttons I'm pressing on the graph. I can make this a better looking graph in the future, but you guys get the idea. Have fun, guys. You guys now know how to drift. Have a good day.